Hello, theologists, sisters and misters.
Welcome to the coven.
All right, final part. We're like wrapping up the month in terms of religion and gods and goddesses. We've been recording 3 episodes. This is the last one. And so the last 2 episodes in this little mini series, we talked about your opinion on other gods and goddesses and how they might exist in our tangible world. And also just like your opinion on the idea behind like the one true God and monotheism and whether or not, he is just another God that just exists amongst the many. After that, we just talked and did a deep dive into our opinions on mainstream religion as a whole, their manifestos, the mob mentality, the difference between like certain ideas versus oppressive ideologies. Now, and I think this is the big one, which is why I saved it for last. I need to know, what is your opinion on the afterlife? It's loaded. It's loaded.
So, I both do and don't believe in the afterlife. And this is because I've described a couple things within this realm, but I believe there's actually a different realm where your spirit goes and you get to chill out and you can decide to read about your life. And people have been through past lives. That is my belief. And you can choose whenever you feel to be reborn into a new body and be a new person, or you can choose to not be reincarnated and just stay there for an eternity. So you have that choice, and that is my belief on reincarnation and the like.
So, would you consider that place that you could go to decide whether or not you want to be reincarnated and rejoin, the living world? Would you consider that heaven?
No, I don't think it's heaven, but it could be people's interpretation of heaven.
Do you think there is a heaven?
I believe in angels, but I don't know if there's a heaven specifically.
I mean, I guess we'd have to define what heaven is. Let's look up a definition of heaven. I feel like we should know it, but I want to look it up.
What is heaven?
What is heaven?
Google would know.
A place regarded in various religions as the abode of God or the gods and the angels, and of the good after death, often traditionally depicted as being above the sky.
This realm is not above the sky.
But sure, that's like a minor detail. But do you think that that place that you might go to after you die in order to read about your life, is that the same place that is where the gods and goddesses reside?
Uh, I don't believe so, no.
Interesting. Can I ask why?
Well, one, because Morrigan actually has a location on Earth. I don't know about the others.
Do you think that she could have a location on Earth as well as a location in this proverbial heaven?
Yeah, that's possible. I wouldn't know the exact answer. I haven't been there.
I wonder if you did ask her, not saying that you have to, but if you did ask her, I wonder, one, if she would respond at all. Like, I don't know. I feel like she'll be like, dude, ask me a better question.
I feel like she'd be like, ask me a question that I want to answer.
Like, I don't have to answer you. That's just the vibe. But I wonder if other gods and goddesses would be like, yeah, actually, here's how it works.
Maybe? I don't know. I don't have any intention of asking her. I don't actually have any intention of speaking to her tonight. Not for any malicious intent. It just doesn't feel like a night that I need to speak to her.
Right, which is why I'm not going to be like, all right, so we're going to pause. You're going to go into the other room. You're going to light a candle. And you're going to say, hey.
And you'll be back in 45 minutes.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm never going to tell you what to do with, with your goddess. That's between you and her. I can make requests. But, I mean, I think it would be interesting if she ever was willing to tell you about that kind of stuff. I would be fascinated to hear what she would say. But I get the feeling that she really would be like, please don't waste my time.
Yeah, it's not like I'm giving her an offering or asking for something.
What would you have to offer to get a god or goddess to reveal the truth about the afterlife?
I have no idea.
It's like
I know she's a goddess of fate, and she already knows how things are gonna go.
Oh, so she's omniscient.
Yes.
Well, okay. In the first part, you said gods and goddesses are much more like humans with powers.
Well, one
I
of those powers is,
omniscience, just knowing how things are going to lay out.
I believe so. I don't know about the other gods and goddesses, but I do know that Morrigan has fate written down as one of her things.
So I wonder if omniscience is just a another power that is only attributed to some gods or goddesses.
But it could also just be related to death specifically, because I know that for battles and things, she knows how a war or a battle is going to turn out before it even starts out,
Mm,
you know?
right. So tell me more about this like possible heaven that you believe in. Or you know what? No, let me rephrase. When someone dies, in your opinion, because you believe in ghosts, why do some people become ghosts and some people go to this place where you could read about your life and choose to return?
Because they're already ghosts. The plane is very thin, there's a very thin layer
Mhm.
between our world and theirs, and they're already ghosts, they're spirits.
Okay.
So ghosts are spirits and spirits are ghosts. These are spirits that decide whether or not they want to go back. They have an endless amount of time to make this decision, and they can come back just as ghosts and then go back to their little realm. And some of them don't do that, and some of them do.
Okay, so basically, if a spirit, after they die, decides that they're not ready to return or they don't want to return, that they could then do what is, what most people would refer to as either, a spiritual visitation or a haunting, because the veil between this, I'm going to call it heaven because it makes the most sense to call it heaven. But I guess in this case, oh, wait, I just made a connection in my head. That one song, Heaven is a Place on Earth.
What the ooh baby, do
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what that's what?
Because like so everybody thinks like heaven is like up in the sky, as we said earlier. But like since you're saying that like the veil between, heaven, possibly heaven and earth is so thin that you could easily travel back and forth to visit a loved one or to send a sign or to haunt if you're a dick. Would you then consider heaven to be a place on earth?
Uh, it's a different veil, but because it's adjacent, sure.
Cool. So basically what you're talking about in terms of like this place that you can go, this other realm. Do you think that there's like multiple or like that some people might get sent to, like cuz like you whenever people hear about heaven, you associate it with the word paradise. Do you think that that realm that you're talking about is necessarily a paradise, or do you think there might be like a secondary place that you could go that is associated, so like maybe the where you read about yourself is more like purgatory?
When they're describing heaven and they're describing the waiting room while they evaluate your sins or whatever.
Mhm.
However, it's kind of just an eternal waiting room. There's no. It's not like purgatory where you're like, yes, I would like to go to heaven or I would like to go to hell. I don't think anybody would say I'd like to go to hell, but it's just itself. There's nothing else.
So, in that case, is there a paradise? Do you believe in some kind of paradise?
I don't know.
So that's like the one thing where you're like maybe maybe not.
Yeah, because I believe in angels, but then again,
Where would the angels come from? Are like
yeah,
angel
like that's where I'm like, where did the angels come
Do
from?
angels come from the same realm as dragons?
Maybe.
They both got wings. Dude, but they really do be both having wings though.
This is an interesting question.
Oh, really? I thought it was dumb. Okay, cool.
No, this is actually a very interesting and valid question.
Shit. What do you think?
I don't have an answer.
Call your mom. It's 11 p.m.
Mom!
Mom, where do angels come from? So, okay, you're not sure about the paradise. However, how do you feel about hell?
It's very warm. Uh,
I mean, like, so in Judaism, or at least from what I remember, maybe in other aspects of Judaism, maybe they believe in, this kind of stuff. But from what I was taught, we don't believe in the devil, so we don't believe in hell. Does that make sense?
yeah, and honestly, I can't say that, like, I believe in hell like I don't believe quite as much in heaven. So I don't really have an answer for that one either. I'm sorry.
Think Satan exists?
I believe demons exist, so I suppose maybe I don't know. I feel like there's a hierarchy going on there.
Could you work with Satan if he did exist?
Yes,
Sick. I wonder if that's like an automatic fast pass to hell.
probably. If hell is a thing, that's probably a very fast way to get there.
It's like, all right, I heard the party is absolutely kicking down there. I'm not into the whole like sin kind of thing.
I heard that party's kind of heating up, you know. So,
Oh no, you're that's it. You pushed it too far. I have to disown you now.
am I going to hell?
Unfortunately, I don't make the rules.
Fuck.
But so I will say that in Judaism, I believe the general belief is that rather than going to purgatory, you go to a place called Ganesh where your soul is cleansed. It's almost been described as a spiritual washing machine. I picture it very literally, like you're in a spin cycle. I don't
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
what my mind immediately went to.
I don't know if it's like that. But um we're not I mean in Judaism you don't really talk about sin the same way that I hear it talked about so frequently in Christianity and Catholicism. Maybe they talk about it more in like Orthodox and Hasidim, but we never really talked about that. It could just be because I went to like a very like low key temple. My family is considered Reform Jewish, which is basically like the bottom tier in terms of devoutness.
Grats.
No, like no joke. I was actually asking my mom and dad these questions recently, and I was like, "Do you believe in God?" Right? Because, growing up Jewish, even though to me it's a tradition, it's always been like so like it because it sounds like it's only a religion if you don't really know that it's more of a bloodline thing. That you're just like anybody who says that they're Jewish is obviously religious, which is not the case. Um but like, so I was like, I don't know. They never told me that they weren't religious. They don't, I mean, like, we don't take stuff too seriously. We don't keep kosher, but I mean, you could still believe in God and not like follow, all of that. And so I asked them, and they said, I don't know if I was expecting this, but like, I don't think they believe.
Wow.
I was not expecting. I know my mom believes in the afterlife. I know she believes in that her mother is watching over her. We talked about that a couple episodes back with the whole Red Cardinal story, which if you haven't seen that and you want to meet my mom, please go watch that. She was really disappointed when no one commented on it.
Someone go comment on that,
Go comment
please.
on that video, make my mom happy.
Make a nice, sweet woman happy today.
So, I mean, uh I guess that's why I found it so fascinating to hear like when I asked them, you would expect, like a generally religious person to be like, "Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I?" And they were just like, well, I mean, like that if that's your response, then the answer is no. The answer is you're open to it, but if that's your response, then no, you obviously don't fully believe. So it kind of surprised me.
Questioning.
I don't know why it surprised me because I mean, like, it's not like they ever proved to me in any way that we were like actually religious. Like, I never even got a bat mitzvah. Um, my mom actually never got a bat mitzvah either, but my dad did get his bar mitzvah. But I mean, it's just, and I guess because like my grandma can like speak Yiddish, which is also sort of, even though that's again, that's a cultural thing, not a religious thing. Whenever you hear Judaism, you think religion. Whenever you hear Jewish, you think faith. So asking them that, I really did not know what to expect. But I have to admit, the fact that that my parents weren't like, yeah, no, I do, which is what I was expecting, more of like a half yes. Instead, I got more of like a half no. So, I mean, not to call them out, there's nothing wrong with it. And I know that my mom does like to believe that her mother is in heaven, and I will never take that belief away from her. But it is interesting that she believes in that, but she doesn't necessarily believe in gods. So I don't know. Take that for what you will. But I personally, I've been bouncing back and forth between I'd prefer there to be nothing, and for like when you die. And I know that that is, first of all, I know it's a very popular belief among atheists, and it's a very harsh belief to some people. Like, if there's no heaven, like what is this all for? You know?
Yeah. It does sound kind of sad.
But like to me, and again, I've been bouncing back and forth, but ever since I was a kid, I had existential crisis. I'm being completely serious. As a child, I had existential crisis about the afterlife and about the idea of infinity. I didn't like the idea of endlessness because I couldn't comprehend it. And the idea of something going on forever made me physically scared. Like I remember I would like be in the shower, and this is why like I listen to like music or videos while I shower now. Like I have a waterproof box in the shower so I can put my phone in, because intrusive thoughts, especially back then, um but I would have like intrusive thoughts while showering about like the infinity of heaven, and like what if it gets old but there's nothing else. So like part of me was just like, I'd rather like when I die, that's the end of it, you shut my consciousness off, and I don't have to deal with the concept of infinity. I don't think that's why most atheists believe this, but it's why I do. But I'm not like going to say like there's no heaven, right? But I'd like to believe there's no hell. I was brought up to not believe in hell. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if I ever told you like in that detail about that phobia.
I mean,
I've mentioned my fear of infinity to you before, but I don't think I ever explained why.
I don't really have an opinion on this. Like, you kind of solidified the whole thing.
It's a weird belief. I don't know how many other people, I don't know how common the fear of infinity is. I've Now that I'm older, and I'm also, on antidepressants that have helped, intrusive thoughts and things like that. It's not like as prevalent in my mind anymore, so I'm kind of like more neutral on it now. Like I could take it or leave it. Like if death is the end, that's cool. If there's a heaven, that's cool. But like as a kid, I was very much like, I don't want there to be anything else. I just want it to be, I'd like just end it and it's done. I don't know. That was, and maybe that's like sad to some people. I think if anything, the sad part is the fact that I was like 8 and having intrusive thoughts.
That is really sad. I'm
I
so
had
sorry.
I had more intrusive thoughts as a child than I do now. Seriously, in all seriousness. I was like a hypochondriac kid. So like if I heard about like any illness like on TV, I don't know if I ever told you this story. I have such a vivid memory of being a child, and I mean like little, like 5, 6. And I had a babysitter come over, and we were like watching TV, and a commercial on TV came on, and it wasn't the first time I saw this commercial. But it was about whooping cough. And when I was like little, that was like like it was a very prevalent thing among like children at the time. Like uh I don't remember if it was like killing kids, but it definitely like was not a good illness to have.
I
And
think it was able to kill babies.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was like, but again, it was that like it was tied to death. So when I heard the commercial and they described like what like what it's like, or like what the symptoms are, one of the symptoms was, because again it was called whooping cough, is that you have a whooping cough. Like that was why it was called that. And I shit you not, I went up to my babysitter and I said, do I have whooping cough? And then I forced a cough. Like I went, does that sound like whooping cough?
Oh my god.
I was like, I didn't know.
You poor thing.
I was an anxiety wreck as a child. I don't know how I got better. I don't know how I was worse as a kid. Like so many kids are like like they don't have like a care in the world, and they don't think about things like that. I was like Chucky from Rugrats. I was the I don't know about this.
I don't know about this.
What if we get sick and die? That was me as like an 8-year-old. I just didn't know. I just didn't understand these concepts, and like the idea of death was terrifying. I don't know why I thought about it so much as a kid, but like there had been times where like my heart was racing. I'd be like playing by myself or something, and like maybe I was like running around and like my heart rate would go up randomly. You know what? Maybe it was just straight up anxiety and I was just chilling and I would just randomly have like a condensed panic attack for no reason. But I
Yeah, were
literally
you
would,
just like having panic attacks as a small child?
I think I was, because like I would literally be like, "Oh my god, why is my heart beating so fast? Am I going to die?" And like
Guys,
thinking,
we found
but like
the
looking
like
back,
beginning of all of her mental illnesses. We've
I
done it.
never I never put that into words. I remember feeling like that, but I never put it into words like that, saying like my heart was beating so fast that I thought I was going to die is literally like the definition of a small panic attack. Dude, was I okay?
No, you've never been okay. I'm sorry, but no.
Oh my god. God, poor me. If I could go back in time and be like, kid, calm the fuck down.
You'd probably get whooping cough.
No. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I still have like the occasional intrusive thought. Oh god, I just remembered another one. Oh my god, why is this all coming back to me now? Because we're talking about the afterlife.
Welcome to Emma having a mental breakdown.
It's 11:30, almost midnight, and
Maybe we
I'm
should.
reliving my childhood fears. Last one, and then I'll stop.
Okay.
Another fear that I had is that if I went to sleep, I wouldn't wake up. As a
That's called
kid.
death.
I know, I thought I would die in my sleep as a
Because you
kid.
went to sleep.
As a kid.
I'm so sorry.
And like now, it's funny because my mind has shifted completely.
My mind just goes, you know what? If it happens, it happens. Just go to sleep.
No, but like now my mind is like shifted completely. Like, what if it's like naturally just very difficult to die? Like as a kid, I thought it was really easy to die, and that's why I was so scared.
Yeah, all you have to do is fall asleep.
Right? So like, but now as an adult, I'm like, it's not that easy, right? It's not that. I mean, unless if you like went out of your way or like someone straight up murders you or you're like in a detrimental accident, but like people make it out of a lot of stuff alive.
Somebody made it out of like falling out of a like skydiving and just landing, broke all their fucking bones and still lived.
Right? Like some people are sturdy.
Let's find out how sturdy you are.
Throw me off
Subscribe
a
to our
cliff
Patreon
and throw me off a cliff. So, all right, that's my take on the afterlife.
throwing her off a cliff.
So, after that whole whatever the fuck that was, I know that you mentioned reincarnation. Do you think that everybody that's alive now is a reincarnated soul?
It's a possibility. Some people could be new souls.
How are new souls created?
I have no idea.
That's a
But I
great
believe
question.
that new souls exist.
I wonder, because I guess that has to come from somewhere, and maybe that's what gods and goddesses do is they make new souls.
Yeah, maybe they're like, you know what? I want a new soul. You.
I was too anxious as a kid. I must have been a fucking wreck in a past life.
Actually, I heard something about goddesses having new souls created.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't remember the specifics. It was Athena, I believe. I wish I could remember the specifics for you.
Maybe one day. We can always revisit
One
it.
day.
But so for you, it's yes, the afterlife is real. Whether you're in heaven or you're on earth, you're considered a ghost or a spirit until you decide to be reincarnated, if you ever decide to be reincarnated.
Yep.
Huh. Now, is that something that you just sort of, fabricated on your own, or does that like come from your mom?
That came from a mix of my fabrication and my mother's. I fabricated and then my mother confirmed.
Interesting. So, yeah, I definitely want you to ask your mom about like if she thinks angels and dragons might come from the same realm. I know in one of our previous episodes where I asked you a lot of questions about realms, I asked you how many you thought that there were. And you were like, well, I know for a fact there's this one. I know that for a fact there's one where like ghosts go. And then I guess the one with the fucking dragons. And you're like, that's all I know. Oh, and the one that you felt really unwelcomed in, but you said that one could also just straight up be the one with dragons.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know if she thinks that we could like add to our repertoire of realms.
Mm-hmm. Let's get her on.
No, like seriously, if we could start a new segment where we just call your mom and put her on speakerphone while we're recording and just be like, "Hey, Arthur's mom. Nice to meet you. Lovely. I have like 80 questions for you. Can you clarify something for me?" I would love to have an "What does Arthur's mom think?" segment per episode as needed.
I don't think she'd be able to do it per episode, but I'm sure that she'd have an episode with us.
We definitely need to.
I'll invite her.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to add about your view of, everything that we talked about? This is our last episode of our month of religion and gods and goddesses. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
No, there wasn't really much that I could add
No, not really.
because I'd already added it in previous episodes.
Y'all can go fuck yourselves. I said what
Keep
I
that in.
said.
Keep that in. Keep that in. It's good.
Sure, fucking whatever. Oh my god, I love recording as it gets later because you can hear me just slowly losing my mind. I hope that really shows. It reminds me of I don't know how many people watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, but the We Are Watcher or whatever now that they do like the campfire scary stories where they just slowly get drunker throughout the night, and it's like they record like 5 episodes all in one night, and each episode is them getting like increasingly wasted. Oh, that would be so fun. Maybe it could just be that we do like a midnight to like 4 a.m. one time just to see what happens. But no, this was really fun. I'm glad we did this. I think that there's just so much here. I mean, for me, the reason why I wanted to ask you all of these questions is because out of everybody I know, you're the only one with moderately tangible proof of things existing beyond reality. And so I would take your opinion of the afterlife and death and of gods and goddesses over like most other people. One, I know I can trust you. Two, I know you're not lying. I think what really did it for me was you talking about how you met the Morrigan and working with
Mhm.
her and how you interact with her. The fact that like you had the dream, like this like kind of dream that like apparently everybody who she has chosen has also had, right?
Well, not everybody has a dream. Some people just have excessive signs in their waking days.
But like it's a dream that like other people have experienced and then became her follower.
Yeah, some people have experienced dreams. A lot of people have experienced dreams.
So I mean like to me that's like I can't think of a way to debunk that as being intangible. There could be a way. I just haven't thought of it.
But we spoke of that in the...
That was the first episode of this month, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else?
No, I wanted to reiterate just the fact that like if I'm going to listen to anybody's opinion on this stuff and like consider it in my own belief system, it's going to be you.
I really appreciate that. Makes me feel very trusted.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all, harmless banter and discussion. But no, but like really, I know that whatever you're telling me, there's no embellishing. And I know this is what you believe. And you
No,
have
because I'm so blunt.
but I also know that you have the closest thing to tangible proof than anybody else I've ever met. And like there's still ways that we can test this in the future if we ever feel like getting creative. But it's just again, it's I've said this so many times, but it's a world that you're letting me look into. And if anyone's going to help me answer these questions, it's you.
Or at least attempting to let you look into.
Yeah, I mean, I will never personally have a conversation with the Morrigan,
I don't think you want to.
But who knows? Maybe one of these days she'll be open to answering one of my dumb questions, and she'll like tell you via what is it? The it starts with a P, pendulum. That's what it is. I got there.
Maybe. Maybe she will.
Maybe. And if she doesn't, that's cool too. But yeah, so that wraps up our month of gods, goddesses, and religion. I love it. I love that we just recorded 3 all in a row, and I got closer and closer to insanity as we went. And yeah, again, we want to hear you guys and your opinions in the comments and on Discord. Again, you can find all the links in the description below. If you're on YouTube, engage. At the end of the day, more than views, we want conversation. If you guys have like a strong opinion on this stuff, or if you have a question for me or for Arthur, most likely for Arthur, um, I'll just weigh in.
Don't make yourself sound boring. Gosh.
You told me flat out in a previous episode that I am boring.
I said that lovingly as a joke and banter. My God.
I thought you meant it.
No.
You said my life was boring.
Your spiritual life is boring.
Yeah, and you meant it.
Well, yeah, I'm being blunt and honest.
It was funny. I thought it was funny.
It was funny.
But yeah, so if you guys want to talk with us, you know where to find us. And we love you. We hope that you enjoyed this month. And maybe we'll do a themed month like this later. If you have suggestions for that, let us know. And on that note, as always, stay spooky.
Bye-bye.